countering the over-under pass. Rob, go.
This is a very effective pass, as demonstrated by Bernardo Faria, Murilo Santana, all sorts of excellent grapplers. This counter movement that I was fortunate enough to learn from Caio Terra, because I was having some success with like alternate versions of this where you reach through and jam the head away and do this kind of thing. But once somebody actually gets in there, like if I managed to catch you early on, that first one worked, but once somebody got in here and really got their head, tight to my hip, it's having a real hard time with this. Just rotate this way. So
my head's already crossed your
center line.
line.
In other words, you're about as deep as you're usually going to be able to get here. You'll notice that I'm going to use my biceps to a certain degree as a wedge underneath your forehead that'll allow me to now frame you out, like by catching your like the inside of your lat and your armpit here and securing my hand to that. I create a frame and I'm able to use that to open up the space between us.
Now I can't see because my face is getting mashed.
Yeah.
Are you extending your arm or are you rotating your body?
I'm doing both. So I'm simultaneously gripping here, I'm extending my arm, and I'm using my foot for base, which is going to start to help out with the kicking motion. All right, so once I get my biceps in front of your face, I know that I can no longer have my hips pinned. If all I were to do is just grab your lat, this is cosmetic. Now I can start to do, I'm just helping you with the pass now. So I need to make sure that I create a proper frame and I wedge your head away. This now, combined with my foot being in base, allows me to both hip escape and drive my knee into your elbow. I'm essentially key locking you, right? Which is going to cause you to release the control and allow me to continue. So as I go here, there you go. You have to rotate your arm to come free, which allows me the avenue to attack your back. Worst case scenario, I just break the pass and we reset and we start again. Best case scenario, I hit my seatbelt, take your back, or attack a crucifix.
So let's just do that from the other side, please. Maybe this angle. So
as you come in, as long as I just keep my biceps and my elbow glued to the side of my body and take my hand and grip your lat. In the gi, obviously you can grab the material. Foot goes into base. I'm still keeping this knee framing. Ideally, I can aid this with my hand as necessary. And I'm going to perform a hip escape while my left knee, the one I'm pointing to right now, comes down. At the same time, my thigh is driving this way, so opposing, and that's what rotates your shoulder.
So if my arm were just here, you'd move it forward like that.
Exactly. If your arm were to stay at this angle, it would essentially become...
Frank Mir lock.
Exactly. We're just done with my legs. So as I start to do this, I'm also aiding this now by pulling your lat forward, which moves me to here. If your arm ends up here, we come up on the crucifix. If your arm ends up
limp arming
out, then we come out to the seatbelt and we attack the back that way.
Okay. So when people are trying this counter, what are the things they screw up on?
Well, the first one is just not getting the arm into position correctly. So like they'll wait until this happens and they're like, all right, cool, I will now do this, or I will now do that. Either one by itself isn't going to work. So as you're moving into the position, ideally, I just want to have you meet me. All right, so if I'm playing any kind of half guard, as soon as this arm comes in here, I'm just laying my arm on top of my hip and on top of my thigh so that there's no way you're getting inside of this space. So yeah, like this is all I really need. This also, like if we're creating any kind of like alternate possibilities, this denies you the underhook, right? So if I'm kind of out here, there's always a potential that you'll get to the underhook. So as long as my hand is relatively close here, I can still be framing, and I just want to make sure that my elbow comes to my hip if I'm concerned with that underhook coming in. So as you underhook the leg, all right, cool, I met you there, and I engage with the grip. And now the other thing that people kind of screw up here is, and this is very common for a lot of things, is they don't put themselves in proper base. So if I'm just trying to do this with my arm and my legs like that, then it's not going to work. So I need to set my foot on the ground, and I need to make sure that I'm still keeping the frame on this side. Because if I set everything on the ground, but I kind of forget what I'm doing here, then you can isolate this, and now you can just step out of my guard, right? And so me being able to do all this stuff isn't going to matter. So like with kind of everything I teach, right? Like proper structure, proper base, proper posture, and addressing my opponent's alignment through every movement that I make is what's going to make it succeed. If I don't address those things and I just do a move cosmetically, it shouldn't be successful.
Okay. Well, it's certainly a over-under counter that's used at a high level. So
yeah, absolutely.
Play with.
I mean, this is something that almost solved the, I'm not saying that I can't be over-unders passed, but it almost solved the position for me, where I was having some trouble with guys who maybe weren't necessarily passing, but they were completely shutting me down in the sense that all I was doing was defending the over-unders pass for the entirety of a round. Whereas this, learning this counter from Caio allowed me to take this from a purely defensive position to now like a true offensive counter where I'm able to actually attack out of the position.